Founded by local philanthropist Willard Carpenter in 1885, Willard Library is the oldest public library building in the state of Indiana, and perhaps the most haunted. One of the nation's most famous ghosts, known as the Gray Lady, is said to walk the halls. Welcome to Spooky Journaling and Crafts, a channel dedicated to the dark, the creepy, and the mysterious told in story form. If you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell to be updated as soon as I post. Now then, grab a snack, pull out your journals, and let's dive into the story of the Gray Lady of Willard Library. Willard Carpenter wanted to leave a lasting legacy in Evansville, Indiana, a town he had helped to build through his political and business involvement, and his dream was to build a Willard College for women. Unfortunately, Willard lost much of his fortune through bad business investments, so the college was never constructed. Instead, in 1885, he built the Willard Library, the oldest public library in the state of Indiana. Designed by James and Merritt Reed, the Victorian Gothic Library was intended for, quote, the use of the people of all classes, races, and sexes, free of charge forever, unquote. Given that the Civil War had ended only 20 years prior, it was still quite new for blacks and whites to share anything, least of all a space dedicated to education. The construction of this library would bring a fresh new perspective to the first Western state to mobilize for the Civil War. But the rich history of this library is not the only thing that makes it intriguing for the curious traveler. A ghost known as the Gray Lady is said to stalk the halls of Willard Library. The Gray Lady appears as a transparent gray figure decked out in the style of the late 1800s. Though no one knows who she was in her lifetime, several speculate that it is the spirit of Willard Carpenter's late daughter Louise, who spent much of her life in the library and passed away in 1908. The ghost is said to bear a striking resemblance to a photo of Louise hanging on the first floor of the library. When a ghost hunting team investigated Willard, one of the members quipped that the woman in the portrait was not very attractive. For the remainder of their time at the library, that same ghost hunter could not shake the uneasy feeling that she was being watched. Perhaps it was Louise, offended by her remarks. Stories surrounding the paranormal activity at Willard Library are numerous. The legend of the Gray Lady originated on a cold winter morning in 1937. The library's custodian came in at 3 a.m. to fire up the furnace for the day, as was his custom. The furnace was located in the basement, near what is today the children's department. Using a flashlight and looking down to see where he was going, the custodian headed for the furnace room. On his way, he nearly bumped into a figure. When he looked up, he saw a female wearing a long dress and a gray shawl. As he stared at her, she seemed to fade into the darkness. In fact, most of the activity associated with the Gray Lady seems to occur in the children's department, which is in the basement of the library. Children's librarian Rhonda Mort came to the Willard Library for a meeting in a room that was standing room only. There was, however, one chair in the middle of the crowd that no one seemed to notice. When Rhonda sat in the chair, she became overwhelmingly cold until she removed herself. Later, when she tried to find that chair again, she couldn't, and was told nothing like what she described had ever existed in the library. Other supernatural phenomena includes the elevators that go up and down inexplicably without a single soul inside, as reported by the library's night shift employees. Perhaps the most common occurrence of paranormal activity in the library involves books randomly flying off of shelves. Local meteorologist Jeff Lyons experienced this when setting up a shot with his cameraman. A former library director once instructed employees to no longer tell patrons about the Gray Lady, or even that she existed. A few days later, a patron asked assistant children's librarian Anita Glover about the Gray Lady, and she replied, quote, "If she was here, she's not here anymore," unquote. Immediately, a book called Betsy's Wedding fell off of the shelf. The figure featured on the cover of Betsy's Wedding is a gray lady wearing an old-fashioned wedding dress with a long veil that resembles a shawl. Women often feel something touching their hair or their earrings while they are in the library, but when they turn, no one is there. Footsteps can often be heard in places where patrons cannot walk, and chairs are pulled away from tables directly in front of seated readers. Not only has the Gray Lady been sighted, but many people describe smelling a very strong scent of lilac or lavender whenever she is around. Police officers once arrived at the library when the security system went off and reportedly saw ghosts in the upstairs window. The most recent notable experience I was able to find in my research came from a group of psychics who visited the Willard Library in 2007 and were able to confirm a spirit's presence. The Willard Library hosts ghost tours in Evansville, Indiana every October. So, if you want to see the Gray Lady for yourself, perhaps that would be a good place to start. So what do you think? Is there really a ghost haunting the bookshelves of Willard Library? And if so, is it the spirit of Willard's daughter Louise who watches over her father's life's work? Or are these stories of paranormal activity just a shared delusional experience by people who wish to believe in something spooky? I hope you enjoyed this video. For more spooky journaling and crafting content, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you liked this story, leave a thumbs up and a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for watching, and come back soon, cryptids.